Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection, bringing you three unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the hardcore gamer of this podcast, Andrew. With me, our moderate gamer who can't quite figure it out, Keith.
Hello.
And, of course, always the noob, Liz.
Hey, guys.
And this week, we decided to do our end-of-the-year wrap-up.
Woohoo!
Played a lot of games, so we figured we'd reminisce on all the great and some terrible games that we played this year. But yeah, so we give out a little bit of awards here and there to kind of some of our personal picks that we played this week, you know, and also some bad awards, Razzies, if you want. But I'm a little under the weather, so hopefully I'll not be coughing in your ear. I'll be sure to edit most of it out, but my voice probably sounds a little off. But yes, Liz, thank you so much. Liz has taken the time and like literally has written down all of our scores. She's gone through like every episode, unfortunately listened to the majority of our ramblings, and wrote down a lot of our scores. So Liz got some fun statistics for us.
I'm really excited about those. Are we doing those at the end?
You want to do it at the end?
End or beginning? It's up to you guys.
It's up to you. You're the one who did the effort of this.
Let's do the
Let's
categories.
do the
Categories.
So with the categories here,
This is a nightmare for me.
Every year that we do this, me and Keith literally like see the list and we're just like, yeah, this game won. This is an adventure for Liz.
I can't remember audio. I can't remember like
you can't
music.
remember games.
You're
writing down the games. You're like, what was Plague Tale?
I was trying to figure out what Anvil was for forever, and then I realized I didn't do that episode. So I mean, I think I'm getting better though. Maybe.
No, you know what?
Keith.
You know one thing I do also every year though is I look at the list that. Thank you, Liz, that you always do for us, and I couldn't make this episode without it, so thank you. But I always look at this list and go, no, we didn't play that this year. No, that was last year.
Yeah.
Wait, we
blows
and
my
I go,
mind.
wait, no, where's that game? Because we definitely played that game, and then it's just I don't know. Time is a circle or something. I think that's what smart people say. So. Yeah,
that's what always blows my mind is how much we've played within a year, and then I'm like, God, that feels like it's forever
we did
ago.
Stardew this year.
That's wild.
Weird.
I did not think that at all.
I feel like that might have been when you guys recorded maybe a few weeks before, though, and I think that might be part of it. And it was like a reserve episode that got put out in 2022.
Maybe
because that's when the baby was born. And so I think we took a couple weeks off and we had some reserve episodes.
Oh, you might be right. I know Anvil was.
We actually got ahead once.
Mm-hmm. There was a point in time where we were ahead.
Which Andrew wanted to preface this and say that there were certain games that he wasn't going to include because it would just be too difficult.
Yeah, so I'm already going to say with this. So I originally didn't want to do this year wrap up because I'm like, this is going to be too difficult for me. Because we played Halo 1, Halo 2, and Mass Effect. And those are like all my favorite games. And so I'm like, they would win every category. And even then I'm like, I don't know which ones to pick between them. Because it's like, how do you pick like your favorite child? So I'm already going to say that I will not be picking Halo, Halo 2, or Mass Effect for any of the categories. Because like I said, for me, they would just win them all. So I'm like, this will not be an interesting episode for me if I did that. So if you're wondering... and you want to argue with at least my choices, it's because they are going to win.
And I was also thinking about not doing Stardew because I was so sick of Stardew, I feel like, when we did it this year. I can't look at it the same. I've played it for years. It is disgusting how many hours I've put into Stardew Valley.
You say that, but I could almost guarantee if you booted it up right now, you would play a bunch of it.
I think I'm sick of it for at least another year. But it's just like, when it comes to like Game of the Year, how could I not give it Game of the Year? Like, couldn't put it down, like all these different ones, but I just don't feel it in my heart this year to give it. So I'm gonna exclude that because it deserves all the award, not all of them. It deserves a lot of the awards, but I just like I'm not into it right now.
All right. How do we want to do this? Do we just want to like each person starts the next category first?
Ugh, I hate you.
Sure.
Or do we just want to do like an order of like me, Keith?
Let's always start with Liz.
Oh no, we'll do like, I'll start one every 3.
Okay.
Compromise.
So for our first category that we're going to start off for games that we played this year, we're first starting off with best story. So out of the games that we've played so far this year, what to you had the best story? There was we had actually had a lot of games that had some amazing stories this year. So like I said, I'm not picking Mass Effect or Halo because once again, those would probably win for me. But for me, I got to give it a Pentiment. I absolutely loved Pentiment's story. I mean, the game majority is a story game, but I was surprised at like how much it was like roping me in and just like I wanted to know more and I want to know more about these characters. For runner up though, I think I might have to give it to a Plague Tale Requiem because Plague Tale Requiem I thought was a really good story. It's a continuation of the first one, so I don't think it was better than Pentiment because it's like, to me, the game was just a little bit long, but I thought by the end of the journey, it really hit me.
There's also some holes in it.
Yeah, there was a little bit of some plot holes to it too. And then surprisingly, for another runner-up, I'm actually going to give it to Beacon Pines. Beacon Pines was like a really kind of cutesy game, but I was actually really surprised how engrossing that story was. But yeah, those are my choices for best story. Number 1 being Pentiment.
So I'm taking a second swing at this. All right, okay. So I had mine narrowed down to 3, and I think I'm gonna agree with you. Ultimately, is that I think Pentiment was the one that I found most interesting because I liked the historical aspect of it. I liked the storytelling of not seeing the stories normally told in that setting and just everything about the way that it was. There was some decision making that could kind of alter the way the game was, but ultimately it kind of leads into one path, which I don't want to say is disappointing, but I think it's good for making sure you can narrow down the gameplay. But all that to say is I had the most fun with it, and I liked the way they told the story. I liked the graphical elements to the dialogue and all of the fun things they did. Now, and it actually got me involved in a story. So that's basically what this list of games is games that Keith enjoyed the story for.
Yeah, this is almost like a game of like a special kind of game of the year award for you.
I mean,
a game that you like the story of.
Yeah. So as far as my, I guess, kind of runner up or the other 2 I was kicking around, similar but different because not Plague Tale because I don't care about that game because I didn't like it. But Beacon Pines and As Dusk Falls are my other 2 because, again, it had that branching element of it. Beacon Pines, I think I ultimately enjoyed more, even though the story wasn't as broad. I really appreciated that I could actually explore it more because it was so much more concise, and so I enjoyed Beacon Pines more. But I thought both of them were actually really good stories that, like, I liked when we were talking about As Dusk Falls and all the different ways that it was different for us and listeners writing in and the different ways they played it. And there were so many different webs, and I think I created a new word of webular in that episode. So like, it was an excellent story game, and because it was all story, and I'll give it that. So those are my 3.
We did quick time events.
Oh yeah. Well, I can't forget, at the very least, shout out Soccer Story.
No, do not shout out Soccer Story.
But what a good story. I mean,
no, it was not.
Anyways,
Liz, shut up.
Liz, your turn.
I had considered As Dusk Falls, but I just had so much hatred for some of the characters that it kind of ruined the story for me. I am going with Mass Effect. I really became invested in those characters, and then I started playing the second one. I just wanted it to continue, and it was just so epic. Like, so I also loved Titanfall 2, but there was something about Mass Effect that just made me so excited about, you know, the whole universe.
Yeah.
And it just, like, there's something different about it. And
very good choice, Liz.
So definitely 100% it's Mass Effect for me.
All right. So for our next category, we're going to do a game that you just could not put down. Keith has decided to put in this category. Keith, explain what this category is and your choice.
I mean, I think the category name speaks for itself. It's a game you couldn't put down. It doesn't have to have a rhyme or reason, but there was a pretty specific reason that I came up with this category. And basically, yeah, it's a game that you couldn't put down. And This could be.
I just realized. I think we actually did this. I think we called it guilty pleasure last time.
It might have been, honestly, and that's kind of what this is. But it could be for plenty of good games too. This could very easily be Sea of Thieves. That once you put yourself into Sea of Thieves, it really is hard to kind of be like, all right, I need to just quit here.
But it's not for you, is it, Keith?
I mean, in this case, it's not. In this case, it was Soccer Story, and I don't care. I know, and I don't even. And again, I go back to it. I'm not trying to start a fight, but I am not even trying to defend anything about the game. It wasn't a wow, this is so fun. It was just a game that, for whatever reason, I would pick it up and I would start playing, and I would just keep playing until I'm like, oh, I just need to stop playing altogether, not because I don't want to play this, and time would just pass. And then there's games that, like, there are the contrary, that even when they're good, sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, I can be done with this game. So for me, this one is Soccer Story. And so, yes, it's kind of a special category I created for Soccer Story. But I think it's a very valid category nonetheless.
I feel like that game was trying to make me put it down with all the bugs.
You
constantly crash. It's like, please stop playing me. I'm like, I wish.
See, I wish I went first for this one because I actually have an answer. And for me, I think it's Evil Genius 2. I remember putting a lot of time into this, and these games always make me nervous. I'm always very hesitant when I start, and I just could not stop playing this game.
I'm surprised Stardew Valley is not winning this one for you.
I remember I'm excluding Stardew Valley.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Because I'm so sick of it.
That's very true.
I mean, honestly, you could throw just about any roguelike on this list for me. Anvil could probably be one of them. Again, not because it's such a great game, but it wasn't. It's just exactly. But there's something about it that once I start playing, I'm like, I'll just keep playing, just keep playing, just keep playing. Gunfire Reborn, another one, but that's a good one.
That's one thing I noticed when Liz was writing out this list. Like, two of the games I really didn't like this year were your picks.
You're welcome.
For me, games that I could not put down. For me, I absolutely got to give it to Gunfire Reborn. As soon as I started playing Gunfire Reborn, I was like, this is fun. I really want to keep playing this game. So I had a ton of fun with Gunfire Reborn. I would actually say a close second up is probably Disney Dreamlight Valley. Oh, yeah. As soon as we started playing that, like, we first downloaded it for our daughter, I was like, oh yeah, here you go. And then I was like, actually, this game's a lot of fun. So I ended up playing a lot of that. So that's another runner-up.
I played it to irritation, but I agree with that. I played that to death.
Yeah. Another runner-up, though, for me would be Grounded. We did our original Grounded episode and then a revisit this year. And both times, anytime I played Grounded, like, it would just suck me in. I wouldn't fully give it to that game because to me it was more fun playing with multiplayer. But yeah, for me, 100% Gunfire Reborn is my winner for this category. Next up, we're doing Best Music. So, dude, we've played some games with some stellar soundtracks. But Liz, why don't you start us off in this category? Your choice.
I know, you're giving me the hard one to start with. So
you agreed to this round, like this round robin kind of stuff.
I know. Already, I have to get rid of like all the epic music ones.
Why?
Because they all sound great to me. How do you choose? How do you choose between like Mass Effect and Titanfall 2 and what was it? Plague Tale Requiem. It's hard, right?
Yeah.
There's too many good ones, and there's some that also like hit just right during certain scenes. I was torn with like As Dusk Falls because it definitely creates an environment. It's weird, like kind of Western, but when things like crap hits the fan, if I'm remembering correctly. So I guess that one, and maybe I'd say Plague Tale. Yeah, I'll do that because I wasn't thinking Plague Tale. I was thinking
I like
Halo.
You looking at me like
Halo,
like should I pick this?
Titanfall, Mass Effect, and stuff. So I guess maybe As Dusk Falls and Plague Tale. Maybe
it's a good choice.
I want to hear what you guys say because I feel like I'm forgetting a game that's like that I loved.
Well, Liz, I'm actually 100% with you. I was actually Plague Tale Requiem was actually my best choice. Plague Tale Requiem, like, it wasn't a soundtrack I think I could listen to on Spotify, but it is a fantastic soundtrack. It builds for that environment so well. Another runner-up, though, for me, though, is Pentiment. My only excuse with Pentiment is that the music wasn't consistent enough. Like, I wish it had more music.
You just love the scribbles.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. It's a lot of pen scribbling, which is great audio. But when it did do music, it did it really well.
That's another one that during certain scenes, it like hit real hard.
Yeah. That's usually when the music kicked in and it worked really, really well. Oh, but another runner-up I'm going to do is Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. I know you hated it,
I could not
Liz.
handle the audio in that.
I loved the audio in that. I think the whole just Norse mythology and like the Nordic chants that are going on and just the voices, I think Hellblade is fantastic audio.
Oh, Andrew, I wanted to say real quick, though, that Death's Door, you said that the audio and
Death's Door
graphics
had a
of
really good
that
soundtrack too.
were early front runners because it was one of the first games that we played.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so graphically and with audio, you said it was a front runner.
I forgot about that. Yeah, Death's
Are you
Door
going to
is
add
really
it
good.
to your like long list?
I'll add it to a runner-up, definitely. But actually, this reminds me. Quick note: I know when we recorded Pentiment, the soundtrack was not on Spotify, but it is now. There is officially a Pentiment soundtrack on Spotify.
Exciting.
Also, I mean, I feel like one of the obvious answers kind of feels like Forza Horizon 5 because I mean,
I was disappointed in this one.
It was, and that is true. I just, in terms of overall
car audio is great.
Yes, the car audio is awesome. In terms of just overall good songs, there is still good songs. They're just not as good as some of the others. But I think actually Guardians of the Galaxy is one that definitely had a ton of just really good songs on the soundtrack.
Oh, I forgot about that. And that's a runner-up for me. Or first place, I don't know.
And yeah, I remember the sound effects were good, the dialogue, the audio was good, just everything about the audio in Guardians of the Galaxy was just really, really good. So I think that's gonna probably have to be my number one. I don't even remember Death's Door, but I feel like I remembered it being like, oh yeah, that was some good music, but I don't know. I didn't actually like Death's Door as much as I thought I was going to like it. It's one of the things that I remember about that game too, but
yeah, I remember I was the one who was like the biggest into it.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, I think for me, Guardians of the Galaxy, I think that's pretty much an easy answer, actually.
I see. I figured you were going to go with Pentiment.
Oh yeah, Pentiment is definitely a good runner-up and one that I definitely enjoyed. But no, I think
I just wish there was more music in Pentiment.
True, and that's actually kind of one of my gripes about Guardians of the Galaxy too. In a lot of ways, that it didn't have as much of it as frequently as I wanted it to, but overall, it was awesome, and that was definitely the best part of it.
So next up, for next category, we have best multiplayer game. We had a lot of multiplayer games this year. Some were really good. Some were just just kind of a fun waster. But for me, I think hands down, I got to give it to Grounded. I had a ton of fun playing this game with you, Liz. Like, to me, this was a more fun kind of like when you play with friends, it really takes the game to the next level. We did revisit Sea of Thieves. I was tempted to be like, maybe Sea of Thieves, but I think I picked it last time we did this. So I'm like, I don't want to do Sea of Thieves. But yeah, Grounded, I think for me, hands down, definitely wins best multiplayer. Close runner-up though is Stardew Valley. So I could actually pick Stardew Valley. I know you can't, Liz. But I love the multiplayer in Stardew Valley is really, really good. It's the main reason also too why I gave it to the Grounded. Like, I love a multiplayer game when you're not like tied to your friend and you can actually go and do your own thing. And I was surprised like when Stardew Valley came out with multiplayer that they did it like right away. Cause I was afraid where I'm like, oh, if the main person's on the farm, I gotta be on the farm. No, you guys can just do your own thing, but you're still playing in the same world. So Stardew Valley did a fantastic job with that. Another runner-up, though, is Forza Horizon 5. It's always just a blast to play with friends. There was a couple times I was cracking up laughing just playing with my friends on that game. So, yeah, definitely that one as well. But, yeah, those are going to be my choices.
Yeah, so I don't know. I feel like we didn't do as many multiplayer games as I thought we did this year.
You just don't like playing with us.
Maybe that's what it is. No, and Forza Horizon 5, you're right. It's definitely always a good one. I don't know. I feel like it could win so many different ones for me.
Yeah.
I think, and it's funny because I didn't obviously play nearly as much, but Grounded actually is in some ways something I fully agree with, because that was the best time I had playing the game. I didn't really care for it much when I was just trying to build my own bases, but when I was on playing with you guys, I actually really enjoyed it the most, I would say. Anvil was another one that, again, despite not being good, it was most fun when it was played as multiplayer. But no, I think I'm gonna have to go with Gunfire Reborn, because again, was one it was so much fun. But the item sharing, and I don't know, just it was good multiplayer to begin with. I liked the way that it scaled. It didn't become unbearable, but it definitely became more difficult. It played well. I don't remember having a ton of problems. Like, we had some, but I think it was just or game glitches, not multiplayer glitches. So It was overall really smooth, easy to do, and it did nothing but improve the quality of the game. So I think that's got to be my multiplayer of the game of the year.
Good choice.
For me, it's Grounded. And for me, Grounded is a multiplayer game, because I would not get that far alone, because I'm not as brave at the beginning. But it also, like, we don't have this category, but it would also be the scariest game. I screamed a couple times playing that when all of a sudden, like, a wolf spider's coming at me. I mean, not like a scream, like a yelp.
Yeah, I'd go scream.
I think that one definitely is my multiplayer of the year. And then a runner-up, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I kind of got sick of it really fast, but playing it just a couple times, having that, like, nostalgia of it.
Yeah.
I just, like, sometimes on the screen I couldn't tell what was happening. So it definitely wasn't my game of the year, but it was a fun game to play with friends.
All right. So next category, we have best graphics or art style. Sometimes we split these up in two categories. I guess this year we decided we're just going to meld into one. So, Keith, what took it away for you for best graphic art style?
I mean, I feel like, I guess Pentiment's probably an easy answer. If I think of the overall, just, I mean, it kind of was just art as a game. So in so many ways, Pentiment is really definitely an easy one. I think maybe ones that, like, when I look through, though, I don't know, I look back and, like, the Gunk even was one that was actually really cool graphically, even if every environment wasn't entirely unique. Just the way that it moved and the way that the gameplay was, it was I don't know, it's just an overall visually appealing game. But yeah, I think I'm gonna take the easy way out on this one. I'm gonna go with Pentiment.
It's not like you to do the easy way out.
No, I know.
See, that's definitely a runner-up for me. This category is so hard because there's so many different art styles in the games that we played, and picking one is just pretty much impossible for me. But for me, so it's very, like, controversial. I'm not talking about, like, the way that it was animated, but I think that As Dusk Falls had, like, the best, like, facial expressions and stuff. Like, there's something about it that it just, like, the characters fit the faces so well, and it just, like, I think it just really, really fit. And
that's really surprising that you're picking that.
I was telling you before we were recording that was my runner-up, and I can't remember what my original one was. Do you remember?
I do not.
Oh, that's bad. A Plague Tale was obviously great. Mass Effect was very hit and miss. Some of the facial expressions, like that was bananas. But, like, even, like, Subnautica Below Zero, I love playing that, like, feeling like you're in the ocean and stuff. But that's why, for me, it's just so hard. So I guess, like, until I figure out what my number one was, that I can't remember.
I thought you wrote it down.
No, I didn't write it down. I write everything down. I have all my notes here, but I don't know.
And I guess we'll go back to Liz. So for me, I think my number one choice, I think I'm going to go Scorn. So obviously it's pretty gross, but I mean, it's what I wanted. Like, it's so unique, and it was really beautiful in a very macabre way. And it was just wild. But to me, graphically, it's so unique, and just the choices that they did for that game that, to me, I just feel like I got to give it a Scorn, because, like, it was really interesting. For runner-ups, though, I was originally going to pick this, but Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, I loved the art style, and the graphics in that game is just awesome. It nails the atmosphere. It nails the emotions. Because majority of the time, it's just this one female character that you're looking. And she's mostly talking to herself and these past memories. And she just carries it really well. But I fully agree with you, Keith. Pentiment, I was tempted to pick as well. But, and then obviously I just don't want to follow you. But Pentiment was really good, though. And then, of course, another easy pick. I didn't want to pick it because to me, it would win every year in Forza Horizon 5. The graphics in Forza Horizon 5 are stellar. Like, it is insane the amount of detail that is in Forza Horizon 5.
What do you think of Grounded? Because that was one that I was considering too. Because I like, Subnautica. Like you definitely feel like you're.
Yeah,
in
Grounded
there,
does a
chased.
fantastic job with the environment. It's just graphically, some of the stuff is just kind of okay, but the environment itself, like, they nailed it. Like, it legitimately feels like a backyard where kids, live in this house. So I would maybe consider it as a runner-up, but it wouldn't be as high on the list for me because it's more of an environment than it is graphics. Have you decided yet, Liz?
Am I going first for the next one?
Oh, no. Did you not figure out what your best idea was?
No, but I am going to put Grounded up there because, like I said, I did feel like I was immersed in the backyard.
Oh, okay. And then following up, after best graphics, we also decided to do best performance. Since a lot of these games now are done with a lot of motion capture and a lot of facial expressions, we figured we'd kind of throw this category in a little bit too and kind of, give our own little 2 cents on it. You want to go first, Liz?
I have a choice?
Well, it is your turn.
I know. You said you want to go first, and I said I have
Okay,
a choice.
sorry. I didn't mean to give you a choice. Let's go first.
So for best performance, there's 3 that there's 4 that spring to mind that I had trouble choosing between. A Plague Tale Requiem, of course. Mass Effect, I just fell in love with those characters. There's a lot of amazing voice actors, and they did a great job. Graphically, like, the expressions did not match up sometimes. We have a TikTok on that one. But I'm not including the graphics. I think acting-wise, that is up there. And then As Dusk Falls, I just mentioned. I think the acting in that is incredible.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. And then I played a couple minutes of Deathloop, and I thought the voice acting in that was incredible.
Yeah, it's really good.
So honestly, I got 4 winners. Those are my 4 winners.
But you don't have a definitive one?
Nope.
Okay. Good job, Liz. Solid work.
I'm sorry they all did
Neither
such a
one
great
of us.
job.
For me, best performance, I kind of said it with the last one, but for me, hands down, I think I got to give it to Hellblade. The actress just carries that. I mean, she's literally performing kind of only with herself, but she does so well carrying the emotion and the story in that game.
And it must have been so awkward to film that.
Yeah, some of those scenes, but she did such a fantastic job. A close second, though, I would give to Plague Tale because, all those kids did a really good job. Well, technically, I don't think they're actually kids, but still, the acting in that one I think is really, really good. It really hooked me with the characters, and I just really was invested in their story. But my third runner up, I'm giving to Deathloop because the only really dialogue you get is between Colt and Juliet, and their chemistry I thought was so good that I loved anytime they were talking. Which a little kind of fun spoiler, well, not really spoiler, but fun news is that there is apparently either going to be a Deathloop 2 or there's DLC. But the actor who plays Colt announced that he is still playing Colt and recording some new lines. So people are suspecting it's either Deathloop 2 or it's a DLC.
It's exciting.
But yeah, those are my choices.
Yeah, I mean, when we talked about the category originally, I told you Hellblade was easily going to be my number 1. And I mean, really, for all the reason, I think she captures it well. It's just some of the most well done audio of any game we played.
See, I thought both of you guys hated her. I thought you guys thought she was kind of awkward.
No, there was something like the breathiness and sometimes with the mouth wasn't it was. There was something about it. There's a tiny little thing that I got nitpicky about.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was, but yeah, I think between that, as much as I didn't overall care for Deathloop, I know the dialogue between Colt and Juliana, right?
Yep.
Was very good. I always enjoyed it. And then I think probably Guardians of the Galaxy would be my runner-up number 3. Well, sometimes the gameplay did some of the overlapping and cutting off of dialogue that I would have liked to have heard more of. Overall, I thought it was really entertaining. I thought the way they did it, actually...
Yeah, their banter was great.
As Dusk Falls does a really good job as well, but that's, I guess, maybe like a final runner-up, but just like a final thought type of runner-up.
I like you guys are like nervous about how many runner-ups you guys are going to do. I do like 5. I'm like...
People know I'm indecisive. They expect it.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
Try to keep it together.
Now we're getting the fun categories here. What was your biggest surprise? What game did you play that you originally saw and you were like, I don't think I'm going to dig this game. But then you were like, holy crap, this game's awesome. For me, hands down, I'm giving this to Tunic. When I first, they came out with a demo for Tunic, and I played the demo, and honestly, the first 5 minutes, I was like, I do not like this game. I remember like seeing Tunic like coming up, and I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. It looks like Zelda, but you're a little fox. And then when I played the demo, I was like, this is weird. I was like, this does not feel right. But then when the full game came out, I was so hooked. I absolutely loved Tunic. So that was hands down my biggest surprise. Runner-ups, Death's Door. I heard good things about Death's Door, but when I actually played it, I did not think of like how much I'd actually really like that game. And I had a lot of fun with it. Another runner-up is Iudian Chronicles Rising. To me, it looked like a weird, just kind of 2D platformer, kind of RPG, like kind of Metroidvania kind of style game. I had no idea really what going into this game, but then when I saw it was from the creators of Suikoden, like the game really connected with me, and I actually really enjoyed Iudian Chronicles. And then my last runner-up was As Dusk Falls, because like majority of people, I was really turned off by that art style. When I saw As Dusk Falls, I was like, this game looks kind of janky. I don't really quite get its story, but I really enjoyed my time with As Dusk Falls.
So I think I'm next, right? Yeah. No?
Yeah.
Okay. So
We'll allow it.
oh, thanks. You'll allow it. So I think, I know it's not fully a movie game because it's also a comic book, but I really just I was most surprised by how much I enjoyed Guardians of the Galaxy. I genuinely thought
that's a good pick.
It was going to be a game. I was like, I'll get through enough, whatever. I'll do the episode. I wanted to beat it, and I think I did. I'm almost positive I ended up beating it, and it like I wanted to because I genuinely enjoyed the gameplay, and it really took me by surprise. So I think for sure it has to be my biggest surprise of the year. Tunic was definitely one that I didn't quite know what to expect. I usually like those kind of indie, like you said, Zelda RPG type of games, but I just really found it to be a lot more than I thought it was going to be. And so, yeah, it was definitely one that took me by a surprising. and the other one I was thinking was Nobody Saves the World. It was a game that when we saw it and we talked about it from, I don't know, whatever game show it was on, they displayed or they announced it on. I thought, okay, that game looks really cool. So it kind of wasn't, it was what I expected it to be, but I don't know, it was just so much fun in so many different ways that I didn't expect, and so that's why I think that
had a great multiplayer too.
It did. That was one I actually meant to put on there because it was one that I think we were tied to each other, at least within some kind of environment. It wasn't the same screen, but it was close. But it was overall really good because it had a very good job of picking up where you left off, and it just played really well. But yeah, Nobody Saves the World was one that, well, it didn't surprise me in the sense of I expected to like it. It surprised me in how much I liked it, actually.
Unfortunately, it is leaving Game Pass this month.
I know, I saw that. I was really tempted to buy the DLC for it, but it's only 2 new characters, and so I just couldn't bring myself to do it.
Oh, there's DLC?
Yeah.
Oh.
I considered it. I wasn't sure about it.
For me, I mean, Andrew usually plays the games before me, so he usually lets me know if I'm going to like something. And there are so many games that we played this year that, like, I'm not even mentioning that I thoroughly enjoyed, but I usually knew if I was going to like them. As This Falls, like Andrew said, I actually asked him not to record. He tried to get other people to record for it because I did not want to. And I enjoyed it, even though there's decision making, I enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. And so that was definitely one. Hitman, I thought I was going to loathe. So I'm bad with stealth. The first Plague Tale was rated much lower back then. Like it was just like I couldn't get past it as well. And so for me, like Hitman was a surprise. And then I had a feeling I'd like Guardians, but I didn't think I would like Marvel's Avengers because I don't watch the Marvel movies. I've seen a couple, I think.
Yeah. No, I don't think you've seen any. No, I think you've maybe seen one Marvel movie, like
Not
Avengers
them
movie.
together. Like I saw like an Iron Man.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Singular Iron Man.
So the fact that I thought that the story was engaging and I really liked it, I would definitely put that on there too. But I feel like As Dusk Falls, even though like I did walkthroughs and stuff and I was very cowardly, and I did like the slower reaction thing, I think I'd have to give it to that.
Yeah. Good pick, Liz.
Thanks.
All right. So I originally did want to put this category because I felt like me and Liz would have the same answer, but apparently we do not. So we decided to go with, after the biggest surprise, what is the biggest disappointment? What game did you think you absolutely were going to love and you hated it? Keith, so why don't you start us off with this one?
It's hard because I don't know that there was any that I really had higher expectations. I think Death's Door is probably my biggest disappointment, and I didn't hate it. I really thought I was gonna like it, and I was not nearly as impressed with it, or maybe not impressed, but even I just wasn't into it nearly as much as I thought I was gonna be, and I think that probably is like my biggest disappointment. I think otherwise it's probably Bugsnax, just because it was so hyped up when it was announced and like everything that was PlayStation
I thought you would say
exclusive,
that.
all of that.
I loved Bugsnax.
And then I was excited, and it wasn't bad. It really wasn't. It just, I don't know. It didn't end up being as much as I don't know what I was expecting it to be, but I remember it being like this whole big, like, oh man, it stinks that we're not going to get Bugsnax on Xbox, and then, oh, we're getting it on Game Pass. This is cool. And I was like, yeah, it was a fine game. It was all right. So I think those are my two answers. Every other game I didn't like or was disappointed, I kind of felt like I knew it going in. Like Plague Tale, like I just knew I didn't want to play that game.
I love that I guessed one of them. My biggest disappointments, definitely Viva Pinata, because Andrew told me I was going to love that game and I did not.
Yeah, I was surprised.
He hyped it up and I was just like, this is a hard pass. Hellblade, I don't usually have like the auditory irritations that Andrew has. I was very surprised how much I hated it, and I was looking forward to it, especially like knowing someone who has like schizophrenia and stuff, and I like, and all the mental health experts that put input into the game, and so that was definitely one that I thought that I was really gonna love. And then this is a runner-up, and I really wanted a roguelike. And so we played Gunfire Reborn, and I didn't love it. I was very disappointed. But it wasn't the game. It was just like I really wanted a roguelike that I would like. And so when I didn't care for it, it was a bummer. I know what Andrew's is.
Yeah. I feel like most people know what mine is. My biggest disappointment, hands down, was Soccer Story. I mean, I didn't have super high hopes for it, but like when your hopes are only like a level 2, and the game gives you a level 0 kind of enjoyment. Yeah, that's pretty disappointing. Hands down, Soccer Story for me. For runner-up, Anvil was the other one. These were both Keith's picks. Anvil, to me, like it looked like it'd be fun because it's a twin stick shooter, roguelike, multiplayer, but it was so repetitive. I didn't find the unlocks worth it. The multiplayer itself was kind of fun, but I really was just disappointed in Anvil. And then for my third runner-up, I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off with this. I apologize. I did not care for Mirror's Edge. Mirror's Edge, I've heard so many people talk so highly about the game. I was really looking forward to it, but I found it so clunky. Like when the parkour worked, and it worked well, it was a lot of fun. but I found it very clunky. Like with its combat, with its navigation. I felt like I was more trying to figure out where I needed to go most of the time, which really just like ruined the flow of the game. It wasn't bad. Like I still enjoyed my time with it, but overall though, it was just kind of a disappointment for me. All right. Then we'll get into our last one here. Overall, what was your game of the year that we played this year, guys? I'm going to go first. For me. Oh, it's your turn, but I'll go first.
No, you go first. Kings before Queens.
For me, hands down, it's Tunic. I got to give it to Tunic. I just like I said, Tunic to me, I first hated the game when I played the demo, but then once I started the adventure, it took me a while to get like into it. But once I figured out what this game is trying to do, and you were uncovering these pictures, and you were uncovering a manual, and there's like secret hidden messages, I was so invested in Tunic. I loved that game. But close runner-up, I'd got to give it a Pentiment. I had a ton of fun with Pentiment. Its story was really well written, and I loved the art style of it. And then after that, I think I'm going to give it to Deathloop. Deathloop's another runner-up. I actually, now that I think about it, I probably should have gave Deathloop for a game I couldn't put down because, yeah, I think I played 8 hours of that game one day, and I wanted to keep playing. But yeah, Deathloop would definitely be one of my runner-ups for Game of the Year.
This is so hard because I think for me overall, I think it's got to be Pentiment, and just because I don't know, everything about it I liked. I even though the gameplay itself was really just dialogue, it was, I don't know, it was a game I just kept wanting to go forward with, and I kept wanting to know more. I enjoyed the story, I enjoyed the dialogue, the art style, the music, just everything hit for me on Pentiment, and I think overall it's probably my game of the year of games we played. I don't know. I think there might be a Vampire Survivors that didn't quite make the 2022, but we might be the only podcast that has Vampire Survivors as 2023 game of the year. But anyway, I mean on the list though, like going back, Tunic was one that it didn't get a lot of others from me. I agree with you. It just had so many cool elements in the gameplay style, and really just it was the putting together of the game manual that made it so unique and so interesting to play. And then my other one that again didn't talk a lot about it, but I mean I have in the last couple rounds. Nobody Saves the World was another one that just I don't know, it just was just I felt like a complete game, and I there was nothing about it I disliked when I think back about it, and I'm almost bummed that there's not more replayability because I was thinking of, like I said, I was thinking about getting the DLC for it, and it was so much fun, but I don't know, there's not a lot of reasons I have to want to go back and play it at this point.
Oh, which there you go, Keith. That actually was your game pick, and so that's one game pick of yours that I can actually thank you for.
True.
I actually like Nobody Sees the World.
I mean, I think we were going to play it anyways. I think I just kind of bugged you to play it because I got myself hooked into it.
Yeah. And you were like, I've already committed hours to it. It's like, all right, fine.
Well, so we'll call it my pick.
That's usually how you do your picks. You commit hours, and I'm just like, well, I guess we'll do this now.
Fine.
Mine is definitely Mass Effect. It's not my
good pick.
Top rated game. There's something I really fell in love with Titanfall 2. And I rated it higher, but I think I also knew that you were talking about how the second Mass Effect is so much better and stuff, and there were little weird things with the game, but overall I think that it definitely I remember Titanfall 2 some things in it, but not like I remember Mass Effect. Mass Effect holds a special place in my cold heart.
Yeah, you beat that game twice within a week. You loved that game,
and so it's definitely my game of the year.
That's a very good pick. So we played a lot of games obviously this year, but I wanted to ask you guys though, on a kind of a grade school scale, what did you guys give Game Pass this year? How well do you think there was for games that came out and the variety that was there?
Whatever score I give it, we're immediately going to go half a point for not enough roguelikes.
I was going to say there really weren't a lot of roguelikes, so I feel like Keith is going to go down a little bit.
It was a lot of simulators this year.
This was the year of the simulator, and we didn't do any of them. We didn't do a single sim.
Holy!
In all of the
wait, is that right?
It is. I mean,
my gosh.
we played the heck out of them. I know you played a lot of Power Washing Simulator. I know I did, not nearly as much.
That's right, man. Holy crap! Yeah, we didn't do any simulators. That's wild.
B+.
What about you, Liz?
I mean, are you talking about games that came out this year or just the games that we played?
No, just like in general. Like, how do you think Game Pass did this year? Do you think they came out with enough games? Do you think the variety was good enough? Do you think
I'd say a B.
you give them a B?
Because, I mean, I don't know. I can't really say what more I'd want, but I do know that, like, I wanted to play roguelikes a couple times this year, and I couldn't. But besides that, like, I don't really... And I feel like they're constantly coming out with games I'm excited about, and I just, like, want them to come out, and they're not coming out fast enough for me, but that's not their fault. That's just me being greedy. So it's like, I know things are coming that I'm excited about, and, yeah, I guess B, because I don't really know.
All right. So I guess I'm kind of with you guys. I was giving them a B- this year. There was a couple of games I was very excited for. Chernobyl, Stalker 2, and Starfield. Those were two big games that were supposed to come out this year that did not happen, which is understandable. Stalker 2, the studio is in Ukraine, so obviously they got affected by the war. And then Starfield, I think they just really needed more polish. So it kind of stinks. But overall, like, I think there were some really solid gems this year in Game Pass. I've obviously been seeing a lot of PlayStation people being like, oh, there's nothing on Xbox. It's true. It is unfortunate there really wasn't a lot of first party this year, and a lot of it's been delayed. But I at least really commend Microsoft with, like, they have some really good games here. And like Keith was saying, we've been playing Vampire Survivor. That was a really good get. That's been a ton of fun. But, yeah. But with that, though, what are you guys most excited for next year for Game Pass? For me, as I already said, Starfield is probably my number one.
I don't know. I don't really look usually more than like a month in advance, I think.
I mean, you really liked Hollow Knight. That's coming to Game Pass next year, right?
Or Silk Song. That's the new one
the
coming out.
The second one.
The new one? Okay. I could get excited for that. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of look at like what's coming up like a month or two in ahead is the biggest thing. Because I don't know. I think part of it, and this is probably part of a cop-out answer too, but I don't know, there's games you get excited for, like, oh, it's going to come out, and then it never comes out until next year, and I don't know, they get delayed, so I'll just wait until things are in my face and ready to play. That's
not a bad strategy, Keith. Don't see when things are coming out, and then you don't get disappointed when they get delayed. It's not a bad strategy.
Exactly. Like, you tell me things are delayed, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, well, it didn't show up in, coming next week, so I didn't really care.
I feel like most of them still just say 2023 because I look them up every once in a while because I do have a list that I'm excited about.
Yeah, there's very few that have firm dates.
And I will make fake accounts so that we play it. I'll keep requesting them. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, what do you know about this Wolong game? Because it says it's Koei Tecmo.
Yep.
Which could mean good things, but is it...
There was a demo that was out not too long ago. I think it got removed.
Is it Dynasty Warriors like at all?
No. It's more Dark Souls. It's more of a Souls-like game.
Oh, jeez.
But you are fighting Dynasty Warrior characters that are possessed by demons.
Ooh, well, that's kind of neat, at least. I'll probably be terrible at it, but I'll give it a shot.
See, that was in my middle category where it's just like I would play it, but it's not like a top pick. But for me, I'm excited about Redfall.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was going to be your number one.
Life already came out. That came out this year. ARA, History Untold. Minecraft Legends, Lightyear Frontier, The Last Case of Benedict Fox.
Lightyear Frontier, I think, was supposed to come out in December.
It says 2023 in the E3, and then is Fallout 76
like
coming
Buzz
this
Lightyear?
year?
No, remember Lightyear Frontier was the farming simulator where you're all in mech suits?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about Minecraft Legends, too. That, again, I don't really still know anything about what that game is going to be about, but I remember it kind of looked neat from what they showed, so I think it'll be cool.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for Game Pass this year. I think there's going to be some amazing stuff coming out. But, Liz, hit us with some stats.
Oh, I would love to. And I always make this disclaimer that, I'm human. I make mistakes. There's probably mistakes in here. It's fine.
I'm just going to make fake accounts just so I control you.
The total amount of games that we played this year is 41. Andrew, of course, played all 41 games. Keith and I both did 38, but obviously we didn't play. We played different ones. We didn't play different ones. Andrew, you had 38 games and 3 passes, so that's like averages about 93% game for
did you write with passes? With ones I put pass on?
Oh, I did. Yep.
Can I guess?
Yes. Give me a second because that's on my other sheet. Oh, do I have it? I do.
Okay, I'm guessing Soccer Story.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Spelunky 2.
Yep.
Ooh, all right. I'm actually having a hard time figuring out what the third one is.
Is this your 3 lowest scores?
No, these are ones I actually gave passes on.
Oh, I'm actually surprised about Spelunky.
I know. I was like, that's why I was like, I don't know if it was this. Man, what's my third one? Was it Mirror's Edge? I don't know. What was my third one?
Anvil.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
The toy. You talked about how much you didn't like it earlier.
That's actually a good fight.
Keith had the most amount of passes, but honestly, there were so many games that you said that you hated or didn't hate. You said that you didn't like them and you didn't want to play them, but you still gave them the game. So, like technical passes, you did 10 with 28 games, so it equals about 74%. And then, like listening through them, Keith, it was so bizarre. And same with like towards the beginning, you were like, I can't give it a pass and have it at 80, and then like the next episode you did it. I was like listening to it, I was just like, Keith's scoring. I always like make fun of you, and I mean it in a lighthearted way about like how I don't understand your scoring. I mean,
I don't
it's
think
your
he understands his scoring.
So,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think I totally understand my
but I'm
scoring
like listening
either.
to your pass, you're just like, yeah, I'm not gonna keep playing it. I didn't put that much time into it because I didn't like it. And then you still give it a game. But anyways,
really good game. Here's why.
And then, so yeah, you had the most passes. I had 31 games and 7 passes at 82%. Average scores, Andrew, 84.5. Yeah, the top one.
I'm a high scorer.
You're very generous.
I love video games.
Keith, 82.7. And me, 81.6.
Wow, you're the
like,
lowest?
Yeah, but it's because if Keith doesn't really like a game, he just gives it an 80.
Sure.
So like Mass Effect, like he barely played Mass Effect, and I think he gave it like an 80. He didn't like it. He didn't play that much of it because he didn't like it. But he still gave it. That's his score, 80. I'm more brutal. I'm more cutthroat, I guess. But yeah, you're the most generous scorer, Andrew. And then. So I do have our passes. We have a bunch more. I don't have to read them all.
Yeah.
But top 5. Do you guys want to guess? Or just want me to say?
Oh, my top 5. I bet I could probably figure it out.
Okay.
Halo 2.
Mm-hmm.
Mass Effect. Tunic.
Nope. Mass Effect is not on here.
What?
It's not on here.
No way. It's not my top 5?
Nope.
Oh, it's because I like Mass Effect 2 a little bit better. So I think I lowered it a little bit lower. So Halo 2. I don't think I gave Forza Horizon 5. Stardew Valley?
Nope. You're so
Man.
confident.
I know. I was so confident. Titanfall 2?
Yep.
Deathloop.
Nope.
I don't know what's the last one then.
Well, you're missing 3.
Oh, yeah.
So
Halo 2,
Halo
Tunic.
2 came in number 1 with a score of 97. The rest were all 95s. Tunic, Titanfall 2, Hellblade, and Pentiment.
Yeah.
Keith, do you want me to say or you want to guess?
I'm going to guess. Well, so I think an easy one is Pentiment, because that was one that I was going to say was one of my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say probably Forza Horizon 5.
Yes. You technically have 6 because the last 3, so 4, 5, and 6 were all tied with the same score. So that is one of them.
Okay. I would guess Gunfire Reborn is on that list.
Nope.
Oh, okay. Nobody Saves the World.
Yep.
Ayuden?
Nope.
Tunic?
Yep.
Thanks, Keith is better at guessing his than I was.
4 out of 6 right now?
Yeah, you need 2 more.
I would guess then probably Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yep. Very impressive.
gosh.
1 more.
Sea of Thieves?
Yes.
Wow.
Good job. So yeah,
Wow. Go ahead.
Tunic was number 1 with 98. Number 2 was tied with Pentiment and Guardians of the Galaxy with a score of 93. And then the other 3 scored at 92 was Sea of Thieves, Nobody Saves the World, and Forza. And then mine tied in number Tied in first place is Titanfall 2 and Stardew Valley with a score 97. Plague Tale Requiem, 93. Mass Effect, 92. And Grounded, 92. See, I feel like Mass Effect should have been up higher. I didn't score it very well.
Oh.
Do you guys want to guess your bottoms?
Oh. I mean, I already know a couple of mine.
Okay.
Like I said, Soccer Story, Anvil.
I will say, there are 2 games that all 3 of us put in our bottoms.
2 games that all 3 of us put in the bottom?
Yep.
Huh. Was it Soccer Story?
Soccer Story was one of them, yes.
Yeah, I figured, because all of us, like even Keith was like, I didn't really like it,
So
but
Keith,
I kept playing it.
you got a cheat one there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mirror's Edge?
Nope.
Oh.
Spelunky, too.
Good job, Keith. Yep.
Take it. I was actually just going to say that.
This is why I need the list.
And you did
But-
Spelunky 2 as well, so that's a point for you as
Yeah.
well, yeah.
That one helped because I knew I hated that one.
You've talked about how much you hate Anvil so many times. You keep forgetting it whenever we
I
talk
said
about.
Anvil.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I said Anvil.
Oh, okay. I was like, you forgetting Anvil again?
It's also how he wrote it on the paper. It's on the very bottom.
Oh, you.
Well, that's
Cheat.
usually how lists work. Is they go top to bottom.
The hardest part about recording this episode is me trying not to laugh, because every time I laugh, I cough.
Keith, do you have any guesses for yours?
What was the guess on this one? Sorry.
You guys already did Soccer Story, Spelunky 2.
I don't know.
Should I just read them?
There was a third one?
You still have 3 for your bottom 5.
Oh, for me, I would have to say probably Plague Tale Requiem.
Yep.
Death's Door?
Nope.
Bug Snacks for Keith?
Nope.
Be Hitman Trilogy?
Nope.
Is it Scorn?
That's one. That's the other one that all 3 of us put in the bottom. So Soccer Story and Scorn.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
See how that's... I at least gave Scorn a higher review than that.
I don't know. Maybe
don't
Skyrim is
vote,
about the only one I can think of. Or Mirror's Edge.
Mirror's Edge. Yep.
Yeah. Mirror's Edge
So-
was not one I liked.
Andrew, the number 1 most hated game from you is Soccer Story with a score of 40, which is very low for you.
Yeah.
Anvil at 65, Scorn at 70, Spelunky 72, and the Gunk 75. 2 of those are games because you only did 3 passes.
Yeah.
Keith, Plague Tale Requiem 63, Scorn 63, Spelunky 2 64, Mirror's Edge 67, and Soccer Story 72. For me, number 1, Scorn 45, then Mirror's Edge is 62, Soccer Story 63, Donut County 65, and Viva Pinata 73. Like,
That's
mine are
surprised.
weird.
I'm surprised you really did not like Donut County.
I did not like Donut County.
Man, that's that's surprising. But yeah, what a year that was.
What a year.
And to all of you guys, thank you all so much. We had a wonderful year with this podcast. Thank you all so much for just taking the time to give us a review, to write to us, give us feedback, tell us what you like, what you don't like. We would not be doing this if it wasn't for you guys. It's been so many days where we kind of get really kind of fed up with this podcast, or kind of get tired.
With me?
Yeah, well, we're always fed up with you, Keith. But then we hear from one of you guys, and it makes us doing this all worth it. We've met some really great people. There's definitely been some people I actually consider friends now because of this podcast. We've met some other great podcast hosts. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you all for this crazy years that we've been doing this. We love doing it, and you guys, make it all worth it. So, yeah, please make sure you write to us you can email us at gamepassgrabbing@gmail.com, or hit us up at our Twitter at GPGBpod, or Facebook at GPGBpod. You can write us a review on iTunes, Spotify, whatever, all over the places. We have a couple listeners who, love to give us game recommendations on the iTunes. One of our listeners from New Zealand, thank you so much for listening. He's recommending that we play Jurassic World Evolution and Star Wars Battlefront. But thank you all so much for writing reviews. And then, people reach us out on our YouTube page, which we don't have a proper URL for that one yet, but you can just obviously search us up on YouTube. But yeah, we got some great games coming out. Some fun episodes. I've been your hardcore gamer, Sanji. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird 01952.
I've been Keith. I naturally have a lot of really fun outros. Nothing this week. But yeah, if you've listened this far, you've heard all of our categories. Either go leave us a 5-star review on the iTunes with your categories, or just drop us a line on Facebook, something.
Yeah.
Let us know.
And we'd love to hear your
Curious to
favorite picks of Game Pass this year.
Well,
yeah.
that's what I just was telling them.
I know. I
like
said
all the
in the
categories,
less
like we
weird
did,
way.
I said we have categories, choose our categories, and one of them was Game of the Year. So that's same thing. But thank you for mansplaining what I said, Andrew. Appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. You needed help.
And I'm Liz Noob.
That's actually not an.
On Twitter at LizNoobNoobNZW.
All right, everyone. We love you all. Thank you all so much for joining us. We love you all. We'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.